Hello everyone and welcome to my craft room. I'm Leo from inkymemories.co.uk, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in South Wales. And today on this simple Saturday stamping video we're going to be using the So Sentimental stamp set along with a couple of other products, and we're going to be making two projects in one today. Now this has been inspired by my very good friend who is just currently waiting to become an aunt. Her niece or nephew is due very soon and we're all very eager to hear when they arrive, and I thought today I would make a baby card and a small gift box to go with it. So let's start. Now some of the other products I'm going to be using with this are a couple of different punches. So there's actually 3 punches in all we're going to be using today. So we have first of all the Label Me Lovely punch, and then also the Label Me Fancy punch and the Small Bloom punch. And the other thing we're going to be using are the clear tiny treat boxes. Now these are things that you might not have noticed on your first walk through the catalogue. These are available on pages 152 and 153 in the annual catalogue. So we have here a range of different mini boxes. So these are the clear tiny treat boxes we're using today, and we also have card boxes and mini card boxes. And then over on this side we have all kinds of different types of paper, and we also have different envelopes that are available. And today we're going to be making a mini card. So this is going to be a 3-inch square card, and we have 3-inch square envelopes that are also available for this. So let us get started. Now as this is a simple Saturday stamping project, all of the pieces are pre-cut and ready to go. So I shall just quickly run through those with you now. So first of all I have a card base, and this is in So Saffron. And like I said, we're making a 3-inch square card. So this cardstock is 3 inches by 6 inches and scored at 3 inches. I then have a mat for the inside of the card, and this is in Whisper White, and this is 6.5 centimeters squared. I have a piece of designer series paper, and this has come from the Neutrals designer series paper, which is a 6-inch squared stack. This is in all of the shades in the Neutrals colour family, and there's a couple of different designs in each colour. And the option that I've gone for today is this cute kind of spotty design here. And this piece of paper is 7 centimeters by 7 centimeters. I have 2 more strips of this designer series paper. So again, in the same colour, this is grey granite that we're using today. And these strips are 3 centimeters wide, and they are the full 6 inches long. And then I just have a couple of scraps. These are in So Saffron and grey granite. And like I said, we will be using one of the 3-inch square envelopes, which apparently I have forgotten, so give me 2 seconds and I shall just grab that now. And again, by the magic of video editing, here are the envelopes. So these are Whisper White 3-inch by 3-inch envelopes, and we're just going to need one of those today. So I'm going to start first of all with the card and getting some stamping done and out of the way. And with this stamp set, I'm going to be using a couple of different sentiments in here. So predominantly Hello Baby, and also This Calls for Confetti, and then we'll use some of these little confetti images as well. So I'm just going to pop a couple of these pieces to one side. We'll come back to those in a moment. And I'm going to stamp first of all on this piece of grey granite, the sort of scrap piece that I have here. I'm going to do 2 different stamps on here in grey granite ink. The first one that I'm going to do is the Hello Baby stamp, so this little mini one here. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp. As always, just nice light taps on your ink pad with your stamp, just to get a nice even coverage of ink all the way over. And because I'm going to be using the large Label Me Lovely punch for this, I'm going to try and aim roughly in the centre and sort of imagine my square around my stamp. So I'm just going to pop this straight down and then lift it straight back up. And I'm also going to stamp this on the envelope. Now I'm not going to re-ink my stamp between these, so this is going to be a 2nd generation stamp. And I'm just going to pop that in the corner like so. The next stamp that I'm going to do then, back on my scrap of the grey granite cardstock here, is This Calls for Confetti. So again, just nice light taps on here, just to get enough ink on here. And again, making sure that you don't stamp too close to the edge. We are going to be punching this out. So just pop that straight down and lift that straight back up. And those are the stamps that we need for punching. And then using the confetti pieces, I'm just going to add a little bit of decoration on the mat that's going inside our card. So I just ink this up and just pop a little bit of the confetti across a couple of the corners. And again, without re-inking the stamp a second time, I'm going to add this to the corner of my envelope as well, just like so. And that is all the stamping that we need to do for this project. It's a nice simple one today. So let's start assembling the card. Now we'll start with the card base. So I'm going to fold this along the score line, and using my bone folder, I'm just going to reinforce that score. And first of all, we shall get the inner mat glued in. So I'm just using liquid glue for this. And I'll run a thin bead of glue just around the edge of the card. Not too close to the edge, we don't need to squeeze out when we press this into place. And we don't need too much glue for this either. Less is definitely more. Pop that into the centre of the card, remembering that you can wiggle this for a few seconds after putting it down if you need to. And that's the inside of the card. I'm going to take the piece of designer series paper. So this is the 7 centimeter square piece. And I'm going to use some linen thread to decorate this on the outside. And with this I want to do 3 wraps around the designer series paper and then tie a small bow. It's nothing like challenging yourself on video. So holding the DSP, I'm going to wrap it once and again, and then a third time. And I want the bow to be on this side of the DSP, and I think I should have just about enough there to tie that up. So I'm going to snip this, and this is where the fun starts. Now obviously, because we are tying this on DSP, it will have a tendency to sort of bend and wrinkle if you put too much pressure on this as you're tying your bow. So what I would suggest with this is to tie first of all a knot and then tie a bow over the top of it. So make sure this is all nice and tight without puckering the paper too much. And like I said, I'm going to tie a knot first of all. And I want that to be roughly here on the paper, so quite close to the edge. Pop my finger on that just to stop it pulling away from me while I pull this tight. Okay, so that's my knot in place, holding the twine where I want it to be, so not too tight but also not too loose. And now I can concentrate on tying my bow. And because this is a little card, we want a fairly small and neat bow on this. So I'm going to pull the ends through until I am happy with the loops that I've got. And make sure that we've got this nice and tight as well. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So trim the ends off. And that is the DSP that we need for the front of the card. So now I'm going to attach this again to our card base using liquid glue. So with this I'm just going to run a bit of glue either side of where that linen thread is, just to make sure that it adheres nicely for us. So line this up with the card front Again, you can wiggle it into place. Got a few seconds to do that before the glue kind of bonds. And because we are asking the glue to hold this down even though there's twine underneath, just give it that few seconds to make sure it has properly fused for you. And everything is nicely stuck. So there's our DSP, and now we'll get to punching out our sentiments. So first of all, taking the Label Me Lovely punch, this is the larger square one, I'm going to line this up over my Hello Baby stamp so that this is nicely centered, and if necessary just spin your card around. And we want these straight sides to be either side and the sort of more curvy parts to be top and bottom on our sentiment piece. Once you're happy with that, punch that through. And then we're going to take the Label Me Fancy punch, so that's this one here, and we're going to punch out This Calls for Confetti. And again, I've done this a little bit too far away from the edge, but that's fine. Just grab a pair of scissors and just snip off a little bit from the edge, just to allow the cardstock to go far enough into your punch to be able to line that up. So get it roughly centered, make sure that it is nice and straight, and then punch. And we're going to do this a second time, and we're going to punch out this hole just on the side of the tag next to, well, sort of between the start of this and the start of confetti. So feeding this into the punch, eyeballing where I want this to go. That looks about right. And then pop that through. And then we've got a hole to hang that as well. And the last bit of punching we're going to do, just to get it all done, we're going to punch 4 of the small bloom punch from the So Saffron cardstock as well. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now it is just a question of getting everything assembled and put together. So the first thing that we're going to do is to pop this punched sentiment piece onto the front of our card. And I'm going to pop this on with dimensionals. And because we have twine across the middle, you're going to want to make sure that you keep your dimensionals either side of where that twine is going to sit, so that you don't have the dimensionals actually sat over the top of the twine, because that will make the piece kind of rock on the front of your card and it won't sit neatly. So line this up on the center of your card. Make sure it is centered side to side and top to bottom. And then pop that into place. And if necessary, you can just wiggle the bow out from the side. This is why it's important to get as close to the edge as you can. There we go. And the next thing we're going to do then is to treat our little flowers. Now I have here a Stampin' PS mat. So this is just a foam mat. It just gives me a way to texture these flowers nice and quickly. I'm taking my Take a Pic tool. This has kind of like a rounded plastic end, but any rounded plastic pen lid or something like that would work. And all I'm going to do is just rub this into the center of the flowers, and it just helps to kind of make them more 3D and break up those fibers. It does squeak a little bit, so apologies for that. Okay, 2 down and 3, and then the last one. So you just kind of rub it in a circle across the middle of the flower on this foam mat. And it just sort of pulls up the petals of the flower, just like that. And what I'm going to take next then is the Wink of Stella brush. Now this is basically ink with just a lot of glitter contained within it. It's very clear glitter. It doesn't really add a lot of colour, it just adds a little bit of sparkle. It just gives a little bit something extra to your project. So I'm going to do this not on my mat because I don't want that to get covered in glitter. And all I'm going to do is just gently paint the surface of the flowers. Just to show you how that actually looks under the light, so you've got like a nice shimmer added onto the surface of that. So I'm going to pop 3 of these flowers onto the card front. Now a couple of them I want to be just flat onto the surface, and then I'm going to put one onto a dimensional. So first of all I'm going to take one and just put a bead of liquid glue just in the centre on the back. I'm going to stick this directly onto the grey granite sentiment piece that we punched out, and just hold that until it goes into place. And then I'm going to take a mini dimensional and pop it onto the back of one of the other flowers that we've just painted. And I'm going to pop that straight down onto the base of the card, so onto the actual DSP layer, so it's slightly lower. And then I'm going to glue one more, again using the liquid glue, just a little dot on the back. And I'm going to pop it on this top left corner here, just directly onto the DSP. And then to finish off the front of the card, I'm going to be using some Pearl Basic Jewels, just to give the flowers some centres. And just using this medium size here, I'm going to grab my Take a Pick tool with the poking end and just lift some of these up and pop them into the centre of the flowers. Apparently these pearls want to go everywhere today. Okay, there we go. And that is our card done. So I'm going to pop that to one side with its envelope. And then I shall move on to the mini gift box. And literally again, this is just a question of assembling this. We've already done all of the punching and stamping that needs to be done. So taking one of the boxes from the packet, the first thing you'll notice with these is they do have this sort of plastic film on them. And this just helps to protect them in transit, stop the acetate from getting scratched or dinged up. So you just need to peel that off first of all. And then assembling the box is nice and simple. So first of all, it's folded up flat. You want to fold it flat the other way and just pinch down those score lines to make sure they are nicely sort of burnished. Same way that you would with your card base. And then moving to the bottom, just pop in each of the edges one at a time. And again, just pinch across the score line to make sure that it is nicely folded and it's going to want to stay closed. And then you want to put the larger flap with the sort of notch in it down first, then the 2 side pieces. And then using the one that has the little sort of extra part, as you push this in, it will go through that notch and it will also carry the 2 side pieces down with it. She says, there we go. And then that gives you a nice, sturdy, strong base for the box. And then we're just going to repeat this for the top. So fold in each of the flaps on the sides. And also the part that folds over and goes into the centre. Now these little boxes, these are perfect for filling with lots of little trinkets. So anything you might want to give as a cute baby gift, whether that be like a little mini collectible. You could pop in some chocolates for the mum, any little sort of treat that you can think of. So there is our assembled box. And taking the 2 strips of designer series paper, I'm going to glue these together. So using Stamping Seal Plus, what I'm going to do is just run a strip of the adhesive along one end of one strip and stick the other strip over the top, just making sure that if any of the adhesive, with this Stamping Seal Plus, it's kind of in little segments of adhesive. You might just be able to see there. So if one of those segments just hangs off the edge, just roll it back over to make sure there's no adhesive hanging out of the edge once this is all glued together. And you want to just lay this into place, making sure that you do line the 2 pieces up and smooth that down. And then we're going to take this to the box, make sure the seam goes under the box so that it is hidden. And we're going to run the designer series paper around the box. So all I do with this is hold it into place and literally just pinch the DSP along the edge of where the box is. And then repeat that again for the next edge. So give it a pinch along there. And then the next one. And then the last one. And you will notice that this DSP is too long. For the box it goes way over the edge and we definitely don't need that much of an overlap. So give yourself a decent size of overlap. And then just trim the extra piece of paper off. So you can see there I've got a good overlap between those 2 pieces of paper. I'm just going to pop this off. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of adhesive on the underside of one edge and on the top of the other. So again, just using the Stamping Seal Plus, just going to run a piece along there and a piece along there. Make sure that we've got this back on the box on the right way, so your seam should be at the bottom. And then the piece that has the adhesive on sort of the front of the paper, you want to make sure that is on the bottom, so closest to the box. And then the piece with the adhesive on the end is going to be on top. And you literally just need to hold these in place and wrap the 2 pieces of designer series paper together so they meet, and then press them firmly into place. And that's our little box nicely wrapped. And again, I'm going to pop some twine around this. Just going to wrap this one twice this time. So 1 and 2. And again, I want to make sure I've got enough here to tie a good bow. So I'm just going to pull that through a little bit more and give that a snip. And I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to tie a knot first of all, just hold the linen thread in place, and then I can go back in and add a bow on the top. And with this one you want to aim for the knot to be more towards the back of the box, so not too central. You want there to be enough room for everything to sit on here nice and neatly. So finish the knot first of all. Could do with an extra hand for this part. Okay, that's the knot in place. And now putting these 2 together, I'm actually going to pop the 2 ends of the thread through that gift tag that we've punched. And then tie a bow over the top of the gift tag to hold it into place. And again, we don't want the bow to be too big on here. It's quite a cute little gift. So you want an appropriately sized bow for the top. I think that looks good. So I'll trim the ends again. And the last thing that we're going to pop on here then is our last remaining flower. So again, I'm going to use the liquid glue for this. Just pop a bead into the center of the back of your flower. I'm going to stick this to the DSP just above where the tag sits. And just hold that in place for a moment while that bonds. So the final thing I've added then is just one more pearl in the centre of the flower on the box, and that completes our project for today. So here is our mini gift box, and then our little mini card to say congratulations and welcome to a lovely new baby. Thank you for joining me again on this project. I really hope you have enjoyed this one. If you are enjoying these, please do consider giving this video a like, so I know that it is something that you have enjoyed, or even something that you might have a go of yourself. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe, then you'll be notified of any new videos as I put them out. If you have any questions or comments about the products that I've used or this project today, please pop them below and I'd be happy to help you out. If you are based in the UK and you're not currently with a demonstrator and you'd like a copy of our current catalogues, there will be a link in the description box below for you to complete the web form on my website, and I'll be happy to get those in the post on their way out to you. All the products used in this project today are available directly through my website with Stampin Up, and there'll be a link again in the description box below for you to go and shop all of those products there. Thank you again for joining me in my craft room today, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.